When I hear the name Buckalew, I think about community, I think about caring, I think about commitment, I think about civic leadership, civic service, and obviously cars.
A great story on the Buckalew family and Woodforest National Bank. It's kind of been legacy. I've been at the bank 24 years, and the Buckalew family is so prominent in this community and important to the community that anytime the Buckalews called us to do something in the community, we said yes.
Few Conroe area families have made a greater impact on the community than the Buckalews. When family patriarch Don Buckalew moved his family from Magnolia to the Miracle City in the mid-1960s, it's hard to imagine a more fortuitous partnership. Indeed, with the foundation laid by his parents, L.A. and Nellie Mae Buckalew, Don made it a priority to lay deep roots in the Conroe community in which he lived and worked. For the next 60 years, those roots extended not only to the business community with his ownership of the local Chevrolet dealership, but also through education, cultural events, economic development, civic engagement, and so much more.
That's the way the Buckalew family is. The entire family. It's a very giving and family that wants to be involved and wants to help others. You know, in my 32 years of working with the Buckalews, that I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Mr. Buckalew, and I learned a lot from Donnie and Denny. And it's just, you know, we phrased a term a long time ago, and it was just do the right thing always.
Remember, eggs and Chevrolets are cheaper in Conroe at Buckalew Chevrolet, Conroe.
The Buckalew Chevrolet dealership dates back to the mid-1960s when Don partnered with W.B. Wiesinger, who had started his Chevy dealership in Conroe in 1939. Together they formed Wiesinger Buckalew Chevrolet, but eventually it became Buckalew Chevrolet dealership, known far and wide, well beyond the Montgomery County line. Both Donnie and Denny, Don's two sons, took over management of the dealership in the last decade, growing operations to become the 17th highest volume Chevrolet dealership in Texas. But growing the business was not as important as serving the community and helping those in need. That, more than Chevrolets, became the Buckalew family trademark.
You know, when you think about Don and what he built, it was really a package deal because all of his children have made a considerable impact to this community, each in their own way. Again, just being around the whole family, I mean, they are just like a second family to me in terms of what I think about in regards to how you should be a model citizen for a community.
The family's involvement in the Montgomery County Fair and Rodeo goes back long before the Fair and Rodeo became its own entity in 1977. From the time he arrived in Conroe, Don Buckalew set a standard for making the rodeo bigger and better every year. His vision became a family affair, with every member of the Buckalew family taking part.
The participation in the fair was a family affair for them. It wasn't just Don. Now, Don, of course, was the patriarch of the fair and will forever be etched in the history of the fair because of his contributions and his vision to bring it to what it is today. But even greater than that was the family's participation, and that included his son Donnie serving as our president for a time, as well as serving on a number of committees. His son Denny serving in the cook-off and helping coordinate the cook-off team. His daughters Deanne and Debbie. Deanne helped out with the Fair Queen committee early and can still be found serving in the kitchen, and then Debbie in the swine barn helping out with the pig show. In addition to Elaine's time helping out with the special education show and in the office, and then the kid's mother, Dale, serving a long time in the junior non-livestock show.
Of course, the Buckalews have a long history with the chamber as well, with Don being the last person to serve consecutive terms as chairman in 1973 and 74, and then with Donnie serving as chairman in 2002. They are the only father-son chairman in the chamber's history. Don was also among the first to serve in the role of chamber diplomat in the mid-1960s. And both Don and Donnie were instrumental in the planning and construction of the chamber's current building on the West Davis Street in the late 1990s.
The impact of the Buckalews on this chamber has been monumental. This chamber would not be where it is if it wasn't for Mr. Buckalew being so involved. Looking back and, as we celebrated our 90th year and seeing all the documents and his fingerprints on so many things that were there, and obviously there's so many other leaders that he didn't do this alone. He had a lot of help, but he often led the charge.
This chamber has always been super important to him, or wasn't super important to him, to making sure that it continued and it had that legacy. And he saw it as really the gateway into our community to have a viable business entity that could welcome and encourage that growth in our community and have that way for businesses to share and to network and things along those lines.
With the family business now sold, it would be easy to say that the last chapter has been written and the Buckalews can ride off into the sunset. But it's no surprise that the family work is not done. With a legacy like the Buckalews, there is still much more to do. There are lives to change. There is community to build. After all, that's what Buckalews do best.
Their legacy is well beyond just the dealership, because again, if you look at them being so active in their community, a lot of times you see very successful companies and their families aren't entrenched in the community. They don't have to be. But you think about each one and their identity and what they've done. Deanne has had a wonderful career, and it, in the education for many, many years, and made a huge impact with so many students. And then you look at Debbie, again, just being an incredible banker, and then Denny and Donnie both working at the dealership. But I don't think that their identity is just that dealership.
It was instilled. The community's important. When I also see the Buckalew family, I see loyalty. Conroe Tigers, Conroe High School, I think that's so cool that they were able to build what they've built, their business here in their hometown, and they showed loyalty to that. And that was something that I know Don passed. Everything that you would see good parents instill in their children, I see that in the Buckalew family, and I know they're passing that on as each generation comes through.